Let's move to counting numbers. How many two-digit numbers can be formed using um, 0, 1, 2, and 3? So that we have to form a two-digit number out of the digit 0, 1, 2, or 3. Okay. Well, a couple points here. Just a couple of quick points here. What would be the lowest one could make there? The lowest one I could make there would be 10, right? I want a two-digit number, and so I don't start here with the 0, 1. 0, 1 is not a two-digit number, and why would that be? Why would that be, you think? 0, 1 is not a two-digit number. Well, the first digit doesn't count there. If you've got 0, 1, that's really just a one-digit number. Okay, so point being, when you're wanting a two-digit number, the first digit can't be 0. Okay? If you're wanting a two-digit number, three-digit number, four-digit number, the first digit can't be 0. Can't have a leading 0. All right, so what would be the next one? Close. The next one would be 11. Is there anything that says I can't repeat there? Unless there's something that says you can't repeat, you can have repetitions. So this says, it just says use the digits, and I'm using the designated digits, right? With 1, 1, 11? Yeah. Yes. 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 You can repeat unless it otherwise specifies you can't. So that'd be the next one, then 12, then 13. Then I have to go up to 20s, 20, 21, 22, 23, and then the 30s, 30, 31, 32, and 33. So I'd have 12 altogether. By my count. Okay? So remember that. Now, if it's a code or a license plate, we'll do some license plates later on, but you don't have that stipulation where the zero can't be first, but if it's wanting a number, a counting number that's so many digits, you just can't have 0 at the first. So that is a little restrictions there. All right, so that's another example of what we'll count. We'll also count some other ways of doing things. Get these off here. So we have a club of some folks, Club Z. And Club Z is going to be Rachel, Steve, Tina, and Vicky. You can see why I used those names, RSTV. Kind of in alphabetical order. So I didn't use a U though, did I? Anyway, okay. So, number 1. How many ways could they elect a president and secretary? How many ways could they elect president and secretary? All right, well, we're just going to list these out. We can have Rachel and Steve, which brings up the first point. I can't have repetitions on this very well, can I? Wouldn't make much sense to have repetitions here because that would be Rachel. Rachel would be president and secretary. We want two different people. All right, so no repetitions in this is kind of implied, okay? So Rachel, Steve would have to be our first. And our system would be, well, let's just do Rachel as president and then just cycle through the others as secretary. Is that okay? So I've got Rachel, Steve, then I could have Rachel, Tina, Rachel, and Vicki. All right, and then let's turn it and make Steve the president. So I could have what? Steve, Rachel, and Steve, Tina, and Steve, Vicki. Now, these two, the Rachel, Steve, Steve, Rachel, let me make a point about that. Are those two different? The same two people, but is it different? It's different, isn't it? Because why is this different? This is Rachel president, this is Rachel secretary. This is Steve president, this is Rachel secretary. So that's two different options there. So when you're electing officers, the order is important. Changing the order changes it, okay? So for officers, order is important. Changing that order changes it up, okay? All right, so what else could we have? Tina as president, so we'd go Tina Rachel, Tina Steve, Tina Vicki, and then Vicki president, so Vicki Rachel, Vicki Steve, and Vicki and Tina. 12 again. With me on that? Is that okay? All right. Number 2. How many ways could they elect a president? Let's throw one more. Vice president and treasurer. If there'll be another rule restriction. Steve and Tina cannot serve together. They just don't get along as an officer. Steve and Tina can't serve together. So in this case, we've got 3 parts, right? We got a president, we got a vice president, and we have a treasurer. Steve and Tina can't serve together. All right, so let's start with Rachel as president again. Rachel, then I could have Steve as vice president, and then who could I have as secretary? Could I have Tina? No. Steve and Tina, no go together. All right, so it'd be Vicki would have to be the treasurer. So that's one. Now to change it up, I'm going to have to change my vice president. So I have to have Rachel president, Tina as vice president. Then I could have Vicki again be the treasurer. Then I change it up again, change up the vice president again. I could have Rachel and then Vicki. Then I have an option. I can either have Steve, couldn't I, as treasurer, or I could have Rachel, Vicki, Tina be also treasurer. With me, okay? So that would be 4 possibilities with Rachel president, and I think that'd be about it. Rachel, Steve vice president, Rachel, Tina vice president, Rachel, Vicki. Yeah. So as far as I could take it with Rachel being the president. So then I'd cycle through, go to Steve president. So with Steve president, what could I have? Well, I could have Steve with Rachel as the vice president, and couldn't have Tina there. That would put Steve and Tina together, so it'd be Vicki treasurer. All right, Steve, and I couldn't do Tina vice president because we said they can't serve together. So Vicki is the only other option at vice president, and then Rachel would be the only option left for the treasurer. All right, then I go to Tina president. Well, I could have Tina with Rachel. Steve couldn't be, so it'd be Vicki. Or then I could have Tina with Steve. Nope, couldn't have Steve there, so it'd have to be Vicki. Yeah, Vicki, Rachel. That's about it. And then I could have Rachel as president, so it'd be Rachel with, no, I've already done Rachel. How about Vicki? I've done Vicki vice president. Vicki president. Vicki's president, so I could have Rachel as vice president, and Steve could be treasurer then. Then I could have Vicki, Rachel with Tina, or then I could have Vicki, I could do Steve, not Tina though, so that'd be Rachel. And then I could have Vicki, Tina with Rachel. That'd be about it, wouldn't it? Is there any others? Which is 12 again. For some reason I have a lot of 12s come up on these, but that's just coincidence. All right? Okay, now, let's change it up. Same club here. This time, though, we're going to select a committee. How many, number 3, how many committees of 2 could they form? Committees. No. No, they made up. They all can work together. No restrictions here. Okay. Committees now. All right. So obviously, again, can we have repetitions? No. We can't have Rachel be a committee of 2. Rachel is not a committee of 2. Okay. So no repetitions again. Just like before. So that would be Rachel then with Steve, Rachel then with Tina, Rachel with Vicki. That'd be about it. If we go with Rachel first. All right, so let's switch it out and make it Steve go first. All right. Now, I'm going to start here with Steve, but I'm not going to list another. I'm not going to do Steve Rachel like I had before. Why do you think I wouldn't do that? Well, if you think about it, I'm doing a committee. And if I have a committee of Steve and Rachel, is that different than a committee of Rachel and Steve? No, it's not. That is the same committee. Steve Rachel is the same as Rachel Steve. That's different than the officers, where we're electing committees here. The order doesn't matter on committees. In other words, for committees, order doesn't matter. In other words, changing the order doesn't change the committee. So that's a little switch here that we've made. Since I'm doing a committee, just changing the order doesn't change the committee. If I change the order when I'm electing officers, it does change the officers, but not on committees. So that's an important little point there. So what would be next here? Steve with Tina, Steve with Vicki, Be about it for Steve, wouldn't it? Because anything else I've already got listed. So let's go to Tina. So what else could I have with Tina here? Who else could I have? Vicki only, wouldn't it? Because I've already got Tina Rachel. I've already got it, and I've already got Tina Steve right here because the order doesn't matter, right? So there's only 6 of these. All right, so let's do committees of 3. So how many committees of 3 could you come up with there? Well, again, start with Rachel, Steve, Tina. Rachel, Steve, Vicki. Change it up. That'd be about it for Rachel, Steve first. Then I could do Rachel with Tina and then Vicki because I've already got Rachel, Tina, and Steve right there. The order doesn't matter, remember. So Rachel, Tina, Vicki. And that's it for Rachel. Because I can't do Rachel, Vicki, Tina because I already got it. All right, so let's go to Steve. Listed first Steve, but really I've already got everything with Rachel, so I'd have to go Steve, Tina, Vicki. And if you think about it, is there anything else? That's it. There's only 4. Because anything else is just going to be a reordering of one of those. Steve with Vicki, Tina. I've already got it. Steve with Vicki, Rachel. I've already got it because the order doesn't matter on those committees. So it's very limited on how many of those we can have. Okay? All right, so that's a little bit there on our electing of officers and committees. Let me give you a